Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. I was gonna get wine tonight, but no. Because I'm terrified of this episode. You know why? Because last episode was amazing. I loved last episode. Episode 18 was so good. It was wonderful. And it had just like, it left me with this vibe, like it was ominous and tense, but at the same time, it was like reaffirming so many great thematic elements. And I was like, wait a minute, Romania, you know that when Isayama gives you a great episode that makes you feel like you're still nervous and you're still tense and there's a big cliffhanger, but you feel like somewhat hopeful, then he comes around with more pain. So I was like, so I was like, do I tempt wine or do I just get some coffee and pray for the best? And here's where I am. So, as I am recording this, the recap review and RIP has come out on Patreon, and episode 17 has come out on Patreon, and episode 15 has come out from part 1 on YouTube. And there have been a lot of comments on episode 15 from YouTube. I was like, holy cow. I've not gotten through all of them. I've gotten through all the Patreon comments for the recap in episode 17. I have not gotten through all the comments for episode 15 on YouTube. Whew, y'all came out in droves. You're like cracking the knuckles, be like, I've been waiting to write this essay about Zeke for years. and that's great. I can't wait to read them all. So when I do episode 20, I'm going out of town next week for a week. So I'll probably record episode 20 before I go. And then I'll be gone for the rest of the week. And then when I get back, I'll do episode 21. So I'll probably do that. I will probably do that. And so if you have comments, I'll probably record it Monday or Tuesday before I leave. So I'll probably try to record it Tuesday night maybe, but I may have to record it Monday night. So I'm at least going to look at the comments for episode 15 from YouTube and maybe get to episode 18 and 16 for Patreon YouTube for episode 20. If not, I'll just have a ton of comments when I get back for episode 21. We'll just work that way. But I do have some comments I want to talk about before we start this. I'm nervous. I think Falco's got death flags. I thought Falco was going to last till the end of the series, and now I think he might die. Niall and Pixis might die this episode. I don't know. But I'm nervous because I feel like with Niall and Falco and Pixis, there are death flags everywhere based on the last 2 episodes. And I love Falco's character, and I love Niall, and I love Pixis. So if all 3 of them die this episode, we haven't had anybody die that has had a name so far this part 2. And I'm like, it's all coming. I'm like, I'm not ready for it. I'm not emotionally ready for it. I can tell you all that now. But, okay. I do have some comments before we start. So this intro may be a bit long, but y'all are used to it. So Al Sora noted about, the idea of chasing freedom and Aaron, this is going to tie back again to episode 15 and 17, but the idea of, and the recap. But Aaron's slavery is about chasing freedom. And Sora noted that, is true freedom being tied down to nothing? Does it mean that you don't have to worry about family or friends or ties? Is ultimate freedom having no ties to family, friends, no goals, no dreams, no morality? If that is the case, then what's the point of living, right? So I don't think that's necessarily what Aaron's after. I hope not. Aaron's whole deal has been that he feels that life, you have a purpose, and that living is tied to that purpose, and that you should be free to live your life because you were born into this world. So I'd like to think that maybe his idea of freedom isn't tied to that, because that would be really hard, right? And it'd be basically the same as being dead if you had no family, no friends, nothing. The ED makes me nervous. And a lot of people are like, you should listen to the lyrics for the ED. And I'm like, no, I'm waiting. I always like to wait till the end of the season to read the lyrics for the OP and ED, because I feel like the OP and ED encapsulates the season as a whole. And if I read the lyrics now, then it may spoil me at things and thematic elements that will pop up and be surprising. So I don't want to do that. The only reason I knew the lyrics to My War is because they were in English, and I couldn't help that. I was like, every time I heard the lyrics, I'm like, well, I guess I know what some of these are because they're in English. So, and then I'd have to look up the translation for the Japanese ones later. So there's that. Beatriz Oliveira noted about Aaron and Flock's alliance that it's more of a partnership of convenience but they're still partners. And I think it was tying to Keith getting beat up. And I totally agree with that. The idea that, yeah, Flock is not really Aaron's friend. I've been joking about that the last season, but Flock is just a convenient ally that Aaron has at the moment. They're not really chums. Flock may think that they're more chums than Aaron does, but I think Aaron's just using him out of convenience. And because it's like keep your friends closer, enemies closer. That ties to Aaron's whole thing with Zeke and Yelena, I'm sure as well. But he just wants to keep Flock close because Flock is dangerous otherwise. Like we established in episode 17, Flock is smart. He's pretty perceptive. He knows what's up. So you might as well keep somebody that's dangerous as your friend rather than your enemy, especially in a situation like this. And then I will admit, this whole thing about the rumbling, I've been trying to visualize it, and several of you have made comments about that. I'm going to kind of touch base on that here, but when I visualized the rumbling, I guess I was visualizing it in terms of Willie's doomsday scenario. Willie Tiber saying that the ultimate rumbling would be all the walls falling down, millions of colossal titans just trampsing and razing the ground in its wake and leaving nothing behind and just destroying everything. That's been my mental image of the rumbling. So when they were bringing up the small scale rumbling, I think Christopher Peterson noted like that the founding titan has the power to do whatever they want to with the titans in the walls once they activate that power. Like Christopher Peterson was like, he could make them stand on the edge of parody and do the Macarena for all we know. And I was like, oh, that'd be some Aceyama humor, right? But Nathan Osei commented the rumbling was just Aaron's ability to control the titans in the walls. It could be small scale, it could be massive. It just basically is whatever Aaron decides to do with it. And I'm like, okay, that's really good to note. And then the weird pianist and Christopher Peterson noted that as well. And so they also talked about how the small scale rumbling, I totally, in my trying to visualize this, forget that Trost and Shiganshina, all those little ports, they have little walls behind them too that could have titans in them. So if you were doing a small scale rumbling and you met at Shiganshina, which is the outside of Wall Maria, you could just take the titans inside Shiganshina's wall and set them out to do the small scale rumbling. And I was like, oh, okay, well that makes more sense. Those little titans there doing that, I say little, it's like probably thousands of colossal titans, but that small chunk compared to the rest of the wall, that makes more sense. I get it now. I can visualize that a lot better. So thank you so much. But is Aaron going to do a small scale rumbling? Because Armin seems to think that he is. Armin's like, oh, well, he'll just do the small scale rumbling. We'll be safe for 50 years. People just won't live in Shiganshina. Be totally fine. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, again, I'm waiting. There's a part of me that is dreading. I think Aaron is going to touch Zeke. It's going to happen. I don't know what'll happen when it happens, but it's going to happen. And I'm dreading it. But the only thing keeping me somewhat sane at this point is like, okay, well, Aaron is in control. It's the scariest thing that we're giving Aaron control in this situation, but he will have it and he can use the founding titan powers for whatever he wants to do. So there's that. So it's like, okay, cool. Maya B talked about how, has Yelena and Zeke ever actually had a conversation in this series? And I don't think they have. They were on the airship together and she was looking at him and Yelena has talked about Zeke and Zeke, I think, has talked about Yelena, but I don't think they've had a conversation, which would kind of feed into the whole fangirl thing where Yelena just reveres him so much she doesn't even have a conversation. It's kind of like Helga with the Hey Arnold shrine, like doesn't even want to talk to him, just reveres him. So that's interesting to note. But yeah, Christopher Peterson, I liked this note that you made about relationships and sacrificing freedom. That was really cool. And Christopher Peterson noted that in relationships, you do sacrifice some of your freedom. If you're in a relationship with someone, there's compromise. And yeah, you give up some things, but you gain stuff from it as well. So it's all like a back and forth. And the idea is that in a healthy, strong relationship, giving up those smaller freedoms will lead to a more beneficial relationship and you gain something that's better than what you gave up, right? So I really like that. And so Christopher noted that Aaron might think that at the time he needs to separate himself from Armin, Mikas, and the others, and if he's alone, he's truly free to pursue his own choices and do things his own way, and he's not tied down to anything. But as Christopher notes, is that being happy too? Is there any happiness tied to that? Because Aaron seems pretty miserable in all this, to be honest. Aaron just seems miserable that he's by himself and he's having to do this all and he's having to like tell his friends he hates them and distance himself. Like, it is a good note that in giving up those ties to become free and enact the things that you want done, is that technically better? And I thought that tied back to the season 2 OP, the season 2 ED, where the song lyrics for that talked about being in a birdcage, and you were in the birdcage, but you weren't alone. So it wasn't technically all that bad, right? And you could argue that, well, being in any type of birdcage is bad, but the idea of being in the relationship with it makes it a little bit better. So being alone is never good because you're all by yourself. You have nobody to communicate with or bounce ideas off of. You don't want that, right? So I thought that was interesting to bring up. Nina Forster commented that Aaron didn't listen to Yelena because he's the attack titan and it's in his nature. He had to defend his hometown. I was like, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that Aaron didn't take the easy way out. He didn't try to escape Yelena's route to go find Zeke. Because one, I'm sure he realized at that point, by the time we get to episode 18, we realized that Zeke was going to meet him at Shiganshina anyway. He's already there. He just had to hold out long enough for Zeke to show up, which he did. And then two, it's not in Aaron's nature. And that's so true. Aaron's not the type to just run off and do a secret escape route. He's like, no, he's the attack titan. He's going to charge forward. And it's also protecting his friends. So it all makes sense. Weird Pianist noted back in Soul Salvation that in the flashback that Kassavar had, there was a little Ram doll. And I remember seeing that, the little Ram doll on the shelf. And Weird Pianist asked that maybe, what if the ram was what Kassavar's Beast Titan form was? It was a sheep. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Interesting. And it would kind of tie to, in a weird way, there's a symbolism of like lamb's blood and like the blood of the lamb and everything. And you see like his wife slit her throat and there's like a connection there symbolically. But with Kassavar's personality, it would kind of make sense if he was a sheep or a ram. That, yeah, that wouldn't be a very convenient Beast Titan form at all. Again, the Beast Titan fascinates me now that we're coming across the idea that they could be different for any user. That's fascinating to me. I'm like, it's like your spirit animal is the embodiment of your Titan if you're a Beast Titan. Makes it a lot cooler, right? And then Purple Ampersand commented that Ymir's jaw might also be different because she may be of mixed blood of Eldian and some other race like Reiner is. Like Reiner's half Marleyan, half Eldian. And maybe Ymir, because based on the geographic surroundings that we see in her flashback, she might be from somewhere outside of Marley in like a country that was occupied by Marley. And maybe that's why she's only like half Eldian or 25% Eldian. I wonder what the ratio is. And maybe that's why her Titan looks different, because she's not a pure Eldian, right? I wondered about that, if that made a difference. And I also wondered how that would affect, because they ran across the idea back in episode in Sound Argument that Mikasa, she's like, well, I'll take on the Founding Titan. John's like, well, we don't know if that's even possible. I'm like, would it? I'm wondering if an Ackerman became a Titan. Can they become a Titan? How does that work? They're like bioengineered superhumans. Would it be like an insanely strong Titan? Maybe instead of it being like a diluted down version of the Titan, it'd be like amped up. I don't know. That's an interesting concept. And I don't know if we'll get an answer to that. So that's interesting. Space Monkey noted that Aaron, Reiner, and Zeke all have at various points in this series had kind of the savior complex thrown on them. Like Aaron back in season 1, there was lots of Christ metaphors, lots of like the savior, the chosen one. People were like worshiping him in the wall cult, thinking that it was like a new coming. Like there was all those undertones. And then in the last couple episodes, we see Zeke with all the undertones, like him looking like a dang deity. And then with Reiner, him being like the hero of Marley and kind of having this like the angel wings, like his armor looking like angel wings protruding off of him in Assault. There's lots of different symbolic elements that have been attached to all three of those characters. And Space Monkey was like, it's like 3 Jesuses running around. I'm like, ha! But it's interesting that those 3 main characters all have that kind of like savior characteristic motif with them. It's interesting. Sean Dunn brought up this really cool point that Grisha, I forget about this. We've established the Founding Titan cured a plague 600 years ago in this world. Grisha, there was a plague in Shiganshina and Grisha cured it. Well, at that time, Grisha did not have the Founding Titan powers. He just had the Attack Titan powers. But because he knew modern medicine, he could help cure the plague. And Sean Dunn notes, why didn't Uri do anything about that? Why didn't Uri save his people? If he knew it was a plague and it was killing them, why didn't he save them? Did he not, because he would have had the Founding Titan's memories at that point, did he just not care? And that's such an interesting concept. Like, why didn't Uri do something? And you could argue that Uri didn't do something because maybe it was so far away from Walsina, he just didn't know about it. Like, he wasn't on the throne at the time. There was the false King Fritz, and he was kind of hiding out with the royal family, but they were feeding him information, so there's not that too. So maybe he didn't care. And that kind of makes his character look a little bit worse and Carl Fritz's character look a little bit worse, in that your people were dying and you're just like, whatevs. And Grisha's the one to save them. This outsider, right? It's interesting, but I had never thought about that. But yeah, he would have been able to do it. He could have cured that plague. Maybe doing it in mass would have been suspicious, and then people might have suspected something was up, and he would have had to delete their memories. That's an interesting concept. And Sean also makes the comment that Zeke is kind of like Thanos. The plan Z is a very logical plan, but maybe morally bankrupt. Like, I laughed so hard at that. I'm like, yeah, I like Zeke's character a lot in this. I feel like he's such a tragic character. I feel bad for Zeke throughout, especially after Soul Salvation. I felt so bad for him because you kind of see his character and how his character is set up. And then especially in these last 2 episodes, he does certain things that I've talked about in the discussion. And I'm like, oh, Zeke, honey. But yeah, the plan is not good, but you get where he's coming from, and you get his motivations, kind of like Thanos in the Marvel series, the Avengers series. So that's a pretty cool connection. I also like the idea Christopher Peterson noted about Ymir healing Zeke and it being different, because we've had 2 setups so far. We've had freckled Ymir seeing the paths, the Aurora Borealis, and we've had Zeke seeing the paths. And in freckled Ymir's case, I'm curious why she saw it though, right? Because I assumed that all the Titan shifters saw the Aurora Borealis when they first transformed. I figured it was like a thing because we saw freckled Ymir saw it the first time she transformed back. But Zeke seemed like he had never been there before. So it was like, okay, well, that's not the case. In freckled Ymir's case, she wasn't injured. She didn't need to be regenerated in any sense of the word. So she just saw the Aurora Borealis and the paths and was like, woohoo, and saw her and found her purpose in life and pursued it. So I'm curious why she saw the paths, first of all. Why did freckled Ymir get to see this thing that most other Titan shifters don't? And then Christopher Peterson noted that maybe Zeke was different because he's royal blood and he's tied perhaps directly to Ymir Fritz because of that. And that's why he saw her specifically. And that could be why he sees her, because he has royal blood. He sees Ymir Fritz because he has royal blood and because she's tied to him through that. And then she probably put him back together because he is her descendant. So it's interesting, but I'm glad you pointed that out. And then finally, as I'm not 20 minutes yet, we're fine. Sasha Purvis noted that Reiner, the whole idea of Reiner caring for Eren and wanting Eren to just stop, and pointing out that at this point in the story, and I kind of forgot about this, at this point of the story, Reiner only knows what Eren told him in Declaration of War. That's what Reiner's going off of. We've seen Eren have other conversations, things happen, but all Reiner knows during this battle is that Eren said, they think I'm the bad guy, I might destroy the world, I'm the same as you, I'm just gonna keep moving forward until I destroy all my enemies. And Reiner's like, well, shit. So Reiner's actions make more sense knowing that he's only going by what Eren told him in Declaration of War. And yeah, he did tell him about how they're all the same. He basically forgave Reiner, but he also said those other things too. So Reiner's probably in freak out mode, being like, well, what do I do? So I thought that was really interesting. But those are my notes so far. 18 minutes, set, we're good, it's fine. I have been told that this episode started out with the OP, and I'm not watching the OP yet until episode 22. So, for that reason, I went ahead and skipped over the OP since it started out with it. I don't get the warm fuzzies when I find out the OP starts out this series. Nope. I'm really dreading this episode. Somebody's gonna die. He's gonna turn those people into Titans. It's gonna suck. I'm just bracing myself at this point. Maybe it won't happen. Kittens and rainbows, right? So, but let's not waste any more time. I've talked enough. So yeah, I'll get back to the comments for episode 15, probably in episode 20. I want to talk about those. But right now we've got an episode to do. 2 brothers. Yay. I'm assuming it's talking about Zeke and Eren. I'm assuming it's talking about Falco and Colt. Could be talking about other people too, like brothers in arms. Like not literal brothers, but figurative brothers. We'll see. But let's start this episode and hope it goes all right. We're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I don't know cry this episode because I was too floored. I was too floored to cry. And okay. So this is how we're going to do it. Oh my God. So yeah, they just basically transported to an alternate dimension, and the thing of it is that he said that it feels like it takes years, but it happens in an instant. So this entire next episode, whatever happens there, could be in the span of seconds, and then it could be in the span of seconds, and then we'll cut back to the present, right? Holy shit. Whiteboard Coon. I need your help. I forgot about Marcel and Porco being brothers and that tying to all this. Oh my God. You couldn't wait 5 minutes, Zeke. You couldn't wait 5 minutes. You couldn't wait 5 minutes for Colt to get Gabby and Falco out of there. You couldn't wait 5 minutes. And Porco. It was Porco. Well, I'm sure the recap is dated real good now. I was like, Falco's gonna eat the Beast Titan. Yeah, no. So he ate Porco. So I'm assuming that whatever happens, there's either two scenarios that I see happening from the results of this episode, right? Either whatever's going to happen in the next episode is whatever's going to happen with Zeke and Aaron. It's either they're either going to well, I guess there's three options really, or four, 3 or 4. I don't think it's the fourth. So your options are, oh my God, we're doing this. This just like went to another level. Like we were in this episode 17 and 18 were this nice little succinct thing, and then I was like, man, things are going to hell in a handbasket. This is hell, and here we are, and oh my God. Okay. Isiam was like, here's what we've been leading up to this whole time. You ready for this? Okay. So the way I see it, there's either 4 scenarios of what's going to happen by the end of this. I don't know if it's next episode's going to encompass everything, or if it's episode... Y'all, the rule of 6, right? Isiam and the rule of 6. This is episode 3. This is 3. This episode 3 is like the equivalent of 5 and 6 from previous seasons. We still have the 4th episode, the 5th one that's usually bonkers, and then the 6th one. This is 3? This is 3. We have 3 more episodes. We have to the madness. I can't. I'm just floored. I'm probably going to laugh this entire discussion because this is just batshit bonkers. And the best thing is y'all did exactly what I asked. You didn't spoil me. And so I'm just like, this insanity. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting when he touched Zeke for them to like transport to some dimension or something, right? Because we had the Aurora Borealis. I'm like, they're going to go to where that is. That's the paths. They're going to go there. I figured that happened. They were going to touch hands and time would freeze. It seems like time has frozen, right? When he grabbed Aaron's head, when he grabbed his head, time froze. And so before he died, it worked. It froze. Time froze. So they transported the other dimension. I'm assuming time has just froze where they're at. And everything that happens in this episode or the one after that is going to lead up and just, oh my God. Oh, okay. So either one of 4 things are going to happen, right? I have 4 scenarios in mind. Post just predicting what's going to happen before we even break down the rest of this episode. God. So thinking ahead, so time is frozen, and the moment that whatever the resolution of whatever is going to happen happens, then I'm hoping that Aaron returns and maybe like regenerates his head, maybe. I don't know. His head got blown off by Gabby. And it was the anti-Titan rifle. She used the anti-Titan rifle that Colt that Colt talked about. God, Colt, we got dead. We got lists of the dead, y'all, to put in here. Okay. This episode made up for the last two being like, well, nobody died. This episode made up for it. So Aaron, timeline froze, and Aaron will return and have his head regenerated somehow. That's the case. Or maybe will we go back in time? I don't think that we'll do that, though, because that would be before Aaron and Zeke touched. So that's probably out. I was thinking that maybe he would retrace the steps before Gabby killed him and maybe avoided Gabby's shot and then touched Zeke again. But no, probably not. So that's probably out. Maybe we'll go past the conflict to the future. But again, I don't like that idea because I want to see what's happening in the moment. So that's out. And then the other thing is that Zeke somehow bests Aaron and goes back to the present. But I don't think that's going to happen either. It's just a matter of how is Aaron going to best Zeke. That whole thing, I knew that Aaron was not going to go along with Zeke's plan. And it was just, I was hoping that anyway. I was like, I hope Zeke's not going along with Aaron's plan. And he wasn't, that Aaron wasn't going along with Zeke's plan. And he wasn't. But then the twist and the turnaround about the founder, that Zeke made friends with Ymir. Oh, shoot. We're going to talk about that. Holy crap. There was so much that happened in this episode. And I was like, oh, okay. I couldn't keep up. There was too much happening at once. I have to bring out your dead. Bring out the list of the dead here. Oh, my God. So, we didn't have any in episode 17 or 18, but episode 19, y'all. Oh, my God. Okay. So, yeah, so I think that what's going to happen is whatever events are going to happen in the next episode, 2 episodes, whatever, is going to happen. And then Aaron's going to return somehow and somehow regenerate and be okay. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what's going to happen with that. What's going to happen with Gabby because of that. Oh my God. Oh. Damn. Okay. So, we're going to go back to this episode, but I am just stunned. I am literally stunned. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, let's do episode 78, shall we? Two brothers. God. Okay. And so we backtracked to Zeke going down. We didn't do a lot of recap this episode, which was great. Oh my God. This was one chapter of the manga? Did y'all have to take blood pressure medicine when it was over? Did you all just have to check your pulse? Make sure you were still alive? I can't imagine, because this is a monthly manga, and y'all said the chapter's like 40 to 50 pages. It's a monthly release. And I can't imagine that this month happened in the manga and y'all were just sitting there like, what? I can't imagine. I would have lost my shit. Oh my God. So yeah, Aaron and Zeke going towards each other. Just wanting to get towards him. Oh my God. And yeah, Zeke was blasted, but God. And Reiner and Noelle, it was Porco like a chihuahua at the heels, right? Oh my God. And Porco just trying. And I like that little gesture of Porco when he was like biting into Aaron's leg inside the Titan. Porco kind of had like like he was like chewing a little bit. Like it was almost like a pantomime. Interesting. And then Aaron just I thought Aaron killed Galliard in that moment. I thought he hit his nape and he smashed the side. I mean, here's the thing. Inadvertently, Aaron caused Porco's death. I know that Falco ate him. We'll get to that. I know Falco ate him. But if Aaron hadn't smashed Porco and literally took half of his face out in that moment, then I don't know if Porco would have sacrificed himself. But he did. And he may have because of what Reiner showed him. And we're going to talk about that. But, oh my God. Like, so Aaron inadvertently may have caused Falco to become a Titan shifter. Oh my God. And just, And Aaron was gonna kill him. Like, he smashed the jaw, he smashed the head. Aaron was just gonna kill him. Just kill Porco. And then Peak cut his arm off. Oh my God. This whole episode was just insanity. And so Peak is like, okay, well, I took out Aaron's hand, and we almost need to timeline this whole thing because it's just, there's so much that happened, right? Let's timeline it. that may help me a little bit more. Holy crap. Okay, we're going to separate this out and just use that for whatever on that side. So Aaron starts out the episode by just pummeling. He just pummels Porco. All right? And then Peak takes out Aaron's hand. Okay? So Peak takes out Aaron's hand. We go from there. That happens, and I think they're going to aim at the Beast Titan next. And Falco and Flock, again, I always mix up their names. Flock goes in to get Peak. Let it be known that Peak's like, would you just piss off already? Like, Peak's like, I'm done with you. And she does not hit Flock. She hits another Survey Corps member. And so the one thing that I am kind of sad about in all of this is that Aaron was so focused on getting to Zeke. He was so focused on the goal that I don't think Aaron noticed that Armin and Mikasa were helping him. I don't know if Aaron noticed that Armin, Mikasa, Jean, and Connie were making way for him to go to Zeke. I don't know if he noticed that. And if he didn't, I'm going to be kind of sad. I'm going to be kind of sad about that. I'm going to wish that he did. But Armin's like the cart titan. We got to deal with her first. Like, the idea that Armin and them... So, Armin tells Armin and Co., he tells them that they have to team up with the Jaegerists to take down Peak, right? To get to the cart. All right, so we established that happens. That they decide that they're just going to go in there and help out. And Mikasa saves Armin from getting sniped. Oh my God. And then Jean and them fire a Thunder Spear, or Mikasa fires a Thunder Spear in the window. And then, or Connie does, and they say they're in the houses. So all the Marlians are in the houses, and Jean tells them to fall back this way. Okay. And as they're going, Mikasa's like, we've got to take out these soldiers. And Armin's like, yeah. And it's such a callback to the first couple episodes of season 3, part 1. Because remember back in season 3, part 1 with Kenny's squad? And way back in those episodes, our main crew here was having this giant moral dilemma of, hey, Kenny and their squad, they're humans. They're not titans. Are we really going to be able to fight them? Cut to a season and a half later, and they're talking about, like, yeah, we got to take out the soldiers. And they're like, yeah. Like, what a difference that makes, right? It's just I was thinking about that in the moment. I'm like, God, this is so different than season 3, part 1. Like, it's such a different scenario, right? And then Armin, man, y'all weren't lying. They make Armin look really good in this episode. Like, he's like wrapping around. And I give Armin's voice actor credit because it's a woman. It's a woman voicing Armin. And she makes her voice sound very deep and very, like, it's more mature as Armin's got more mature through the episodes and through the seasons. Like, she makes his voice sound really good, like yelling out and screaming all this. That's hard to do. But Armin looks freaking good in this. And so, yeah, then we see Pixis leading the other guys, leading them around the city, breaking apart, and Armin saying he's got the right idea. We can't fight them head on. We've got to sneak around and flank them. God, I can't believe they're all gone. I mean, not Falco, but oh my God, this episode was such a trip. And we're only 3 episodes into part 2. We're not even to the crazy stuff yet, right? Not gonna make it. And so Armin saying, let's sneak behind them. Okay. And then they're all firing at the rooftops at the Marlians who are getting them. And then we see Nile and Rogue. Nile and Rogue are together and they're taking on the soldiers too. And then they're all going past them on the ODM gear using the Thunder Spears. And so yeah, during the midst of all this attack, there is Yelena sitting atop, like with her legs crossed, sitting there with the battle, like almost like she's meditating, like she's in prayer, like she's just like, everything's gonna be fine, it's all gonna work out, you'll see, everything's fine. So Yelena, we cut to her. Yelena in all of this is, you could say she's praying, that she's meditating. She is basically just, at this point, what else can she do, right? She's just going to have faith, right? Oh my God, seeing the Thunder Spears. And Zeke basically has half of his arm taken out and most of his backside. Like, he is barely hanging on, right? We don't know where Levi is. By the way, I just thought of this. I was thinking of Zeke. I was like, man, Zeke's got half his body taken out, kind of like with Levi. We still don't know where Levi and Hanji are. They are still 3 episodes in MIA. Like, they disappeared at the beginning of episode 17, and we don't know where they pieced out to. So, fun times. They're in the back of my mind constantly in this, because I imagine that they're going to show up in this big dramatic reveal, but I don't know, because Levi was pretty much dead. So you tell me. Well, don't tell me. I don't want to be a spoiler. But yeah, the idea of Eren, I love the imagery of Eren with the cutout and the crystal, and there's the door through his eye, and there's a door through the eye, and then you see Zeke on the ground here. And for the record, I've not taken a close look at it because I don't want to be spoiled, but I have seen just floating around. It's so hard to avoid. I have seen at this point the poster for this part 2 season, and it's of Eren's face, and then there's all these like crystal fragments to the side. I've not taken a close look at it because I don't want to be spoiled, but I have noticed the crystal fragments that are on the side of that poster. When you get on Crunchyroll, you basically see it. You can't avoid it. But the crystal fragments are on the side of his eye that the door is through Shiganshina. So, and eyes are windows to the soul. So, make that what you will, right? But I think that's interesting. And so Zeke's saying, I fell to the ground. Was I shot? And I think in the reaction, I was like, yes, you were. You were shot. You're pretty much in this. He's pretty much in the same state as Galliard at this point, barely hanging on. And then Reiner and Eren just duking it out. And then we cut to, there goes one marker. We'll do a different color. So we cut to Reiner and Eren and them fighting. Still fighting. Reiner is just trying to keep Eren from Zeke. And, oh my gosh. And the two of them, he's like, get up, Porco. And he's like, find the strength. And I didn't mean to laugh, but he was like, find the strength, Porco. I was like, Porco is barely alive, Reiner. I'm like, I didn't mean to laugh in that moment, but when you look over, it's like, he ain't getting up. No. But he touches him. Okay? He touches him, and there's a spark. Right? There's a spark with Porco. Okay? So, there's a spark in that moment to Porco. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit in that moment like, wait a minute. Is that just because of Eren having the founder? Is it because Eren has the founding Titan's powers and he's touching Reiner, who touches Porco, that spark can happen? Because how else would those memories transfer? Like, why? Reiner's had at different points in the series where he's touched Porco in Titan form and nothing happened. So clearly Eren's the reason that memory transferred. But normally it was Eren touching a royal family member that memories transferred. So that's interesting. Like, how, I'm curious, like how, and maybe next episode we'll find out, right? Like, how did those memories transfer? That's a big thing. Like, how did the memories transfer? It was obviously because Eren was touching Reiner in that moment, but usually you'd think it was a royal family member that Eren would have to touch to get the memories sparked. So that's interesting. And then we cut back and Porco gets to see his brother's memory. And it's through Marcel's eyes. Here's the thing. It's through Marcel's eyes that Porco sees it. He sees it through his brother's eyes, right? So we have 3 sets of brothers in this. We have Colt and Falco, right? We have Eren and Zeke, and we have Marcel, and we have Porco. We have our 3 sets of brothers. Funny that's the rule of 3, right? Of course you would. Isayama. And so, yeah, and then looking at Reiner, I talked you up and criticized my brother to influence their decision. And in that moment, Porco realizes that Marcel was trying to save him. Just like Colt's trying to save Falco. Just like Reiner's trying to save Gabby. They're not siblings, but it's the same concept. I talked you up and criticized you. I just wanted to protect my brother. So yeah. Oh my God. And so it's interesting because in this whole series we have Marcel sacrificed himself. Technically, he sacrificed himself in a way. He tried to deter everything from his brother. He sacrificed himself to save Reiner, who was supposed to be in his brother's place, right? Then you have Aaron, ends up, Marcel dies, and eventually, I'm going to go back on that. I was going to say he sacrificed himself to save Porco, but that's not true at all. He sacrificed himself to save Reiner. So we'll do this down here. He sacrificed himself to save Reiner, right? And in the oddest of ways, Porco sacrifices himself to save Falco, who is another brother. So, interestingly enough. And then Zeke and Aaron, that's a whole different thing. But, oh my gosh. So, everybody's flying around. Magath at this point, I love that Magath just has a pistol out. He's like, screw the tank. He has a pistol out firing at him. It's just insanity. And then saying Zeke is still alive. And Zeke trying, and he's gonna scream. And he says, it's time to summon the Titans. And God, Zeke. And I want to make note that in this moment, Aaron says, wait. Aaron says, wait. So that's the curious thing. That's what makes it so hard. That's what makes it so hard when Gabby fires the gun at Aaron. That's what makes that so hard, because Aaron said, wait. So in that moment, Zeke goes to scream, and it's Aaron who does the Reiner move. Aaron says, wait. And he does the same move with his hands like what Reiner's done. So there's a part of me that's like, he's imitating Reiner in that moment. Is that tied to him touching out and reaching out to Reiner? Like, what did he see Colt and Falco there and Gabby? And he knew that Falco drank the wine. So was he trying to save Falco in that moment and let Zeke hear them out? And so I'm kind of sad that Aaron said this, and that I don't know if Gabby couldn't hear him say it. That's the problem. Oh my God. Gabby didn't hear. Gabby didn't hear because Aaron can't speak in Titan form. Oh my God. That was the first sign that I was like, okay, Aaron is not totally on Zeke's side, because he asked Zeke to wait. That was the first sign that Aaron was going to betray Zeke. I was like, oh, you asked him to wait. Hold on. Whoa now. But that's the saddest thing. Because he can't communicate to Gabby, she didn't hear him. She didn't know he was saying wait. And so when she shot Aaron, she just assumed that he was trying to help Zeke as well, and was just in association with him. And at that point, we'll get to that. But, oh my God. So yeah. And Zeke stops. He stops because it's his brother. And then, Colt. And he has the that's the rifle. He has the anti-Titan rifle. So then Colt pleads his case, right? Colt pleads and begs Zeke to spare Falco. Oh my God. Okay. Please, Falco got some spinal fluid in his mouth. Please don't scream, Zeke. And at this point, Colt is desperate. And Aaron and Zeke are both like, so that's interesting, because Aaron seems surprised that Aaron doesn't know who Colt is. Aaron has no clue who Colt is. So he's just like, okay, there's this random Marleyan with Falco. And Gabby's got the horse. Apparently Gabby tamed horses within the time frame of the last since episode 11 of part 1. Gabby's tamed a horse, defying all odds. That's the most unrealistic thing in this series, the fact that Gabby tamed a horse. But Aaron seems surprised. So maybe he said wait for another reason. Maybe he was trying to hold off that happening and it getting chaotic for another reason. I don't know. But then again, Zeke can control the Titans that he summons. So maybe it was the fact that Aaron was afraid that once Zeke turned them into Titans, they would attack Connie and Sasha and all of them. But again, I don't know if Aaron realizes that Connie and Sasha are even fighting, because we never see that confirmation. We're going to rewatch it here, but I don't think we ever got confirmation that Aaron knew they were there fighting with him. Okay? He just didn't want the Titans to get turned and for Zeke to do it. Okay. And then, yeah, and what was that? Reiner. Oh, wait, why did Reiner say what was that? I guess, I don't know. He says, I'm inheriting the beast to keep my family from being sent to paradise. He's like, the whole point of me doing all this was to keep my family from turning into pure Titans. That's the whole reason I'm here, that I'm doing this. So, my whole purpose, he's like, and Falco's like, let go. And he's like, to be honest, I rarely understood you even before you betrayed us. But I don't think you're someone who dragged kids into this. Well, you'd be surprised, Colt. Apparently. Yeah, he's like, I didn't think you'd be someone to drag kids into this. He's like, my brother's innocent, let him go. I mean, he's not innocent, he's a warrior candidate. He's like, I'm not saying that you should just lie down and die. And Colt just begs, he does everything that's desperate. He's like, I don't care who you kill, just not my brother. He's like, but wait till Falco's out of range of your scream. Just wait. After that, slaughter away. Kill as many Eldians as Marlians as you want. Just don't drag my brother into this. And then, yeah, Gabby's got the horse. And maybe the horse isn't, like, the best because it is kind of, like, flopping around. But and I love Gabby's like, hop on! And, like, as this horse is going insane. And he says, stay back, Gabby. And Falco's trying to get away because Falco sees the writing on the wall. He's like, no, you don't understand. He's not going to stop. Falco's like, I just want to get away from all of you. Oh. And Zeke saying Colt. And Colt looks so desperate. He's like, only too well do I understand the feelings for one's brother. And this part, and Aaron, I'm trying to look at him sideways. He's like, And then we get the shot of the other brothers. We see Galliard barely hanging on. Aaron's like, okay. And then Colt's like, all right. And he's like, Zeke. So, this moment, it's a shame. Oh, Zeke. Oh, Zeke. I don't understand why he couldn't let him go. He makes the choice. He makes a choice. You could have let him go. At this point, I'm surprised that during this entire monologue, McGath just wasn't like, fire away, you know? I'm surprised McGath just didn't. You had all this time to do this, and it looked like Mikasa and Armin were trying to help you, so to keep you from getting hit. So it's so cruel. It's so cruel that Zeke is like, it's a shame. I just can't let him go. And I'm like, you could have, though. That's the one thing. The only thing I can think of with the Pure Titans, the only thing I can think of that the Pure Titans would be good for in this scenario is to, one, get rid of the Marlians there on the ground that are trying to fire at them. That doesn't solve the problem with McGath, though. That doesn't alleviate the problem with Peek and McGath. They're out of range from the Pure Titans. It would just be stopping the Marlians that are on foot. But your Survey Corps people are helping out with that, and maybe Zeke doesn't realize that at the time. He doesn't know that Armin and them are trying to help. But there's really no other reason why he couldn't let him go. There's no other reason. He just said, nope. This is part of the plan. This is what I'm going to do. Because that's the thing. I'm like, you have all these Pure Titans within the walls. So the moment that Zeke turns them into Pure Titans and he can command them, what is he going to do after? Because the whole point of the founding Titan thing, and maybe that's another reason why Aaron said, wait. I'm like, the whole point of you helping Aaron is supposedly to save these people, but you're going to what are you going to do with all the Pure Titans once they're transformed? Are you just going to kill them all? Are you going to tell them to go in the sea and walk into the sea? Are you going to use them along with the rumbling? What's the deal? We're going to talk about this, but Zeke says no. Zeke's whole line, it's a shame. And it sounds so reminiscent to what he told Levi. It's a shame about your friends. Oh, Zeke. I'm like, you. But here's the thing. Zeke says he understands what it feels like to have feelings for a brother. But the tragic thing about all of this, the tragedy of it all is that Zeke really doesn't. He thinks he does because he's gotten the bare minimum of reciprocated emotions from Aaron. He's gotten the bare minimum. He's had a brother show up, call him a brother, and have a chat with him. And that's been pretty much it. That's Zeke's only experience in having a sibling, is having one conversation with them and then seeing them on an airship. Like he's had maybe like an hour of screen time with Aaron, and that's all he knows of having a sibling. So he says he understands what that's like, but by saying it's a shame, he does not know what it's like to have a brother. He doesn't. Because Marcel, the whole idea of sacrificing for others and for keeping his brother safe, like he basically sacrificed Reiner to save Porco, right? In doing so. And Colt was like, I'm willing to sacrifice anything. Like, kill me, do whatever, just save Falco. And Zeke, I don't think Zeke would die for Aaron. It's not the same. It's just, God, it's tragic. It's a shame. I hate this moment. And then he screams. Thanks, I hate it. This was so hard to watch. And Colt's like, are you kidding? And he doesn't even wait. He just does it. And this is so sad. Like, he does it, and it just rings out throughout the entire city. Like, it's like, and it's a scream in the Beast Titan form. It's not a scream like he's in human form, right? It's not a scream like he's in human form. And I'm going to take a photo of that screenshot. It's the most tragic, heartbreaking thing I've ever seen, because in that moment, like, I didn't think about this, but the Beast Titan screaming, he was probably thinking he doesn't have long in that. Zeke's probably arguing, and I know you all comment about this, so I'm bringing it up. Zeke is probably thinking, I don't have much longer in the Beast Titan form, right? So if I scream now while I'm still in Beast Titan form, it's going to reach every member that's in Shiganshina. That's the proximity is going to be greater, that I can reach them all and turn them into Titans. If I wait until Falco leaves, then I will probably have to eject myself from the Beast Titan. And if that happens, then I won't reach probably all of the members in Shiganshina, only the ones in close proximity. So it won't be as effective, right? So he chose to go with the mission and do the scream in beast form to get the maximum efficiency. And the sad thing about that is when I pause this moment here, it's when Zeke's screaming and Colt has turned around and he's hugging Falco. Like he's hugging him for the last time. And he says, get away from me, Colt. And he says, it's okay, Falco. I'm here for you. And like Colt's just lost it. And Falco and Gabby she got off the horse and he reaches for her. And the way they do the transformations in this second part, it's a little bit different than the first part. Like it shows all their veins and everything lighting up. And then Niall and Rogue. Oh, Niall, honey. Niall, honey, and all of them inside. And Pixis was drinking his last. And that part got me when Pixis just blinks and he's like, yep, this is what it is. And he closes his eyes. Ah, I hate it. I hate this moment. This is so tragic. Damn it. And it's all over Shiganshina. And of course the Marlians are like, what? What's happened? They're like, why did they all turn into Titans? That's not normal. Why did that happen? And then they look over and it's just like, they look over and they say, get the anti-Titan cannons. And they look over and it's like, damn, no regrets. And there's already like, a guy's already had his like torso eaten off. Oh. And then, yeah. And then they all get, it's just a massacre. It's just Titans running all over the place. Ew, and there's like one just reaching behind the pillar and smiling. And Reiner's like, what the hell? And then Falco's just this huge long neck. He looks like a bird. Looks like a damn ostrich. His neck's super long too. I thought for a second that when his mouth was open, it looks like a baby bird. Falco looks like a baby bird in Titan form. No! I was like, why does he have that long neck? It's outstretched like a baby bird reaching to try to get food. I thought in that pose that, because he's like got his arm crooked and everything, I thought he'd thrown Colt up into the air and was gonna like eat him like Eren did with Willie Tiber. That's what I thought was gonna happen. But God. And Reiner's like, oh my God. And Zeke, he says, get him, Falco. Oh. That's the cruelest thing, where he orders Falco to attack Reiner. And so Zeke orders Falco to attack Reiner. Which, again, I know why Zeke did it. Zeke did it to get Reiner off of Eren so Eren could get to Zeke. I get why he did that. But in the weirdest of ways, Zeke also underestimates just how done Reiner is with it all. Like, Reiner was ready to sacrifice himself so that Falco could become the Armored Titan. He was ready to do it. And so, it's like, if things hadn't worked out differently than they did, if Porco hadn't sacrificed himself, then Reiner would have. And I don't know what the outcome would have been. I don't know how it would have been different, but it would have been different. But that's just, in that moment, I know why Zeke did it, and I get why he had Falco attack him. It's just kind of funny that, again, Reiner underestimates what these characters are thinking. Because, yeah, Reiner tells Levi back in Savagery, he's like, or way back before Savagery, he's like, oh, you think you know everybody's emotions. But the funny thing is, Zeke kind of thinks he does too, and it's like, no, not really. But, oh my God. And Falco is huge as a Titan, as a pure Titan. He's big. Like, he's as big as Reiner. And Gabby getting up. Like, Falco's a big pure Titan. Like, he's as big as Reiner is. And Gabby, oh my God. And she looks over to Colt. And he's dead because he was holding on to Falco. And when Falco transformed, there was the burst of energy, and it just fried him. And he's just dead. So first on the chopping block is Colt. I'm going to go ahead and put Niall and Pixis down, even though we don't know for sure that they're dead. I'm just going to go ahead and put them on the chopping block, Niall and Pixis. And then I'm not going to put Eren down. Maybe I'll put in parentheses like, Eren? Question mark? Because his head just got blown off. Yeah, but poor Gabby. Gabby's just like, Colt, he just died. He died. Which in all morbid fairness, it's probably better that Colt died then and there than getting eaten by him. It sucks getting burned alive in that moment, but it seems like it was pretty instant. So, and I don't know. Maybe Colt's like Armin and he's not dead yet, and they could feed Reiner to him. I don't know. I don't want Reiner to die though, but I think Colt's dead. And Gabby. And so then Reiner is trying, and that's the thing too. Even though they're not siblings, you have Gabby and Reiner. You have Gabby and Reiner who are cousins. They're still family, right? And Gabby just crying. She's like, this is just awful. And seeing Reiner, her cousin, trying to hold both Eren and Falco down. And they're literally, and she's like, Falco. And they're literally the same size. He's like, I can't fight both of them. Eren will get away. And he's like, the one to end Falco is me. It's like a baby damn bird. Oh my God. And Reiner's like, am I going to kill Falco? But then Eren doing the MMA move, because Isayama likes doing that. Eren does the move where he like flips back over and grabs Reiner by the head and like somersaults him away. He did that in season 2, didn't he? I think he did that in season 2. But Eren goes forward. And for a second I thought Falco was going to go after Eren, but that's not the case, because Zeke has ordered Reiner Zeke has ordered Falco to take Reiner out. And he's going after his nape. Ugh. And then Aaron kicks Reiner to get away from him. And then, so at that moment, that's when I'm like, it took y'all long enough. I don't know what you were doing up there, fighting Flock and all of them. But they're like, okay, it took him out. He's a goner this time, I'm sure of it. Crisis averted. Crisis averted! Just Marley getting things done. 40 seconds too late, And Peake's like, So at that moment, I guess going back to this, that Peake hit Zeke, all right? But Zeke was faking it. Zeke faked the death like she did, all right? So he's barely alive. Okay. And then Flock being like, shit, guys, is anyone alive? Our Burger King. Not really. Most of them are down. And then Peake is aiming for the Founding Titan. And, that look. Aaron, that look. And Magath says, we've got no need to go for your head, just your spinal fluid, just to make you stop. Just to take you out long enough where you can't do anything. Oh my God. And Aaron being so mad in that moment, like, I am trying to get this done and I'm being held up. Like Aaron's showing that emotion. Again, he looks a lot like Grisha when he does that. He has a very Grisha expression, but it also ties back to the face we know Aaron has, right? We've seen it from previous seasons. And then in that moment, the Thunder Spear and Magath falling down, and it was Armin! Armin, we were too slow. God, he looks good! Am I simping for Armin in this episode? Yes. Yes, I am. So Armin fires the Thunder Spear at Peake and Magath. Okay. And man, he looks good. He looks really good in this. And Kozlo goes after him and Mikasa. Mikasa killed Kozlo. Oh, okay. So Kozlo's dead too. Or maybe, I'm going to put a question mark, Kozlo might be dead because Mikasa just slashed him. Oh. And Peake's trying to say it's over for you. And then, Zeke. And Aaron. And then there's Aaron and Reiner. And Falco's trying to eat Reiner out of his nape. It didn't sound right, so I'm like, I need to finish the sentence. Aaron can't use the Founding Titan's power now. We fulfilled our duty. And then Reiner's like, I can just let it happen now, right? So he's like, we did our job. We did our job. We stopped Zeke. We prevented Aaron from doing it. We can just stop now, right? So Reiner thinks about sacrificing to save Falco. And I want to bring up, this is a really good point about Reiner too, because Reiner, he could kill Falco. He could kill Falco. Falco doesn't have any armor. He doesn't have any special things. He's just trying to eat him. He could kill him. He could snap his neck or do something. But he doesn't want to kill Falco. He would rather sacrifice himself and just end it all and let Falco live and become a human again than to see him suffer and be in this form. And that's really tragic. He says, once I undo the hardening on my nape, I'm done. And then Gabby watching this whole scene, like, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people pissed at Gabby because she just knocked Aaron's head off. I was honestly surprised because I was like, holy shit, she actually did it. And it kind of calls into question her attitude in the last episode when she keeps Colt from firing on Niall. And you might think, okay, well, she prevented Niall from firing in that moment. Why did she fire at Aaron here? But the thing of it is, like, her in this moment watching the three of them, like her standing there, and there's Aaron in front of her, and she can't understand Aaron, she can't hear him, she just sees he's still alive, and seeing Reiner potentially about to die as her best friend eats him I'm floored. And Gabby, she's just so shocked. Like, what is happening? Right? And Reiner, all he can see, I'm sure he sees her, but he's like, I don't want Gabby to inherit me. I didn't want her to inherit my Titan. I will let Falco have it. Oh my God, it's Falco. And Reiner he almost looks at peace at that moment. Like, he's not smiling, but he's like closed his eyes and he's like, it's going to be okay. Like, he's just accepted it. He's just accepted death at this point. And that's the tragic thing, is that Reiner, I'm like, dude, he's just accepted. He's a suicidal maniac, right? And he's just accepted death. And he's going to let Falco do it. And then in that moment, he stops. He stops and looks over. And there's a crazy thing. Reiner's like, what? No one will let me. I can't die peacefully in this series. Reiner's tried to kill himself multiple times. And it's just not working. And God, Galliard standing with like the jacket off. You know what? We're going to add Porco to the list of the dead. God, we've had like 6 people die in this episode. Porco, I've never really cared for your character. I mean, I put you in like A rank last time and you're fine, but God, he looks freaking cool in this moment. He's got like the jacket off his sleeve. He says, I'm out of power to heal my body. Oh God, and seeing that. Looks like a damn dinosaur. The little baby bird Falco looks like a damn dinosaur. Oh. He says, but I ain't dying for nothing. Like his just half of his face is gone. And then in the most curious of things, Zeke said get him. And I assume that meant to get Reiner. But he lets Reiner go after Porco. So that's curious to me, right? And he says, I saw my brother's memories. Maybe that's what Reiner was referring to back then. Maybe Reiner was like, what was that? Maybe that he went to reach. Okay, that's what that was. So Porco, he sacrifices for Falco. Back in the recap, I was like, there's no way Falco's going to eat Porco. Ha 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 ha. Fun times. So I guess that's why Reiner said, what was that? Because he was like, wait, what was that? And it was, he didn't realize what the spark was. Okay, because we talked back in season 3, part 2, at the funeral thing, at the coronation, at the memorial, when Aaron kissed Historia's hand, he had the memories. But the thing was, Historia did not see the memories that were accessed. Only the person accessing them did. So only Aaron saw the memories, even though he touched Historia. So there's that. So that was interesting. And in the most roundabout way, when Reiner touched Porco, because he was touching Aaron, who had the Founder Titan powers, then Porco remembered, but Reiner did not. So Reiner's probably like, what was that spark? Why did I get shocked? He didn't realize what the memories were. It's not that he gave the memories to Porco. He just touched him, like try to be like, hey, get up. And then that's when the memories were activated. So when Porco says, I saw my brother's memories, that's what it was. He fooled the military to make your lousy ass a warrior to protect me. And I love him walking forward. God. And Reiner's like, no! And Reiner says no. And then he says, Porco. That smile. That smile, y'all. That smile, he says, I'm going to take a picture of it. There's no denying it now. I was always better than you. That may be one of my favorite final lines that a character in this show has said, because it all comes back full circle, that Porco's like, God, Porco looks really, for being someone missing half their head, like the hair down and everything. I'm like, Porco, Peak would never flirted with any of those other guys if you just kept your hair down the whole series. Why didn't you do that? You had the undercut and everything. But God, yeah, that line, he's like, there's no denying it now. I was always better than you. Like, tying back to the start of the season. Oh my God, like he just says, that's it. That's it. Oh my God. And then, yeah. And then about to cry, and then Falco got him. And Gabby's like, wait, what? And so we can only hope that he actually got the nape. I'm assuming he did. And then Reiner just screaming. Because, Marcel and Porco are both dead now. And he goes to punch Aaron. Oh my gosh. But Aaron hardens to trap Reiner there. And then he jumps out of the nape, of the back of the head, and starts running off. So you can see where Aaron's legs were cut off from the pants. He now has capris from where the pants were cut off. And he's just going for it. And Reiner's like, no! Reiner can't catch a break! This series has just been like, Reiner, do you like suffering? Because you're going to. Reiner just got saved. He just lost his comrade. He didn't get to sacrifice himself. He went to punch Aaron and get some satisfaction from that. Can't even get any satisfaction from it. It's just not even going to happen. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then, Zeke, he says, I'm glad you noticed, Aaron, that imitating Peek and pretending to be dead worked perfectly. And I guess Aaron did notice. I guess that's the thing. And Aaron's like, we're so close. And Reiner can't get out of it. Oh, God. Or no, he did. He did get out of the reach. And he did go for Aaron. But then the Thunder Spear hitting both his hand and... So Aaron ejects from the Titan, right? And then Reiner gets hit by the Thunder Spears, okay? One goes to his head, one goes to his hand. Does Aaron notice then in that moment? I'm trying to look back and see. Okay. It seems like Aaron looks up to see who it is, and he sees that it's Connie and Jean. Okay, so maybe he does notice that it's them. Okay. And he says, come on, Aaron. Oh my God. And in that moment, the girl who killed Sasha, the Marleyan brat, she had the anti-Titan rifle from Colt. Oh my God. And that's when he looks over and there's just nothing stopping him there. And then in the meantime, so John and Connie look back and see that he's going to get hit. Mikasa's fighting Peek, so she doesn't notice. She's too busy fighting Peek, and time just starts to stop. It's crazy. So here's the thing. Connie and John hit Reiner, which is the craziest thing, because we've just had that conversation about Connie saying in the last few episodes that Reiner betrayed him. And so he was the one fighting Reiner to save Aaron. And so they notice that Aaron is going to get hit. Right? And then you have Mikasa fighting Peek. You have Mikasa battling out with Peek. There's that happening at the moment. And she's not focused on Aaron. And so here's the crazy thing. Armin and Mikasa are fighting Peek at the moment. So they're not watching Aaron, right? They're not paying attention. And Magath is trying to fight them off at the same time. And Gabby, she just sheds a tear and she just does it. Oh my God. And just takes his head off. But it lands in Zeke's hands. Oh my God. Ugh. So, the crazy thing in all of this is that, and I'm sure there's people in the comments that are going to be like, Gabby's such a bitch, like all this stuff. I'm like, I'm not happy that Gabby chose to shoot Aaron, but at this point, the sad thing is, I think if Gabby had heard Aaron say wait back at the start of the episode, then she wouldn't have done it. I think if she could have heard Aaron say wait, it would have made a difference. But she doesn't. She didn't. She didn't hear him say wait. And so in that moment, all she can see, to her, she sees her cousin about to die. She sees that Zeke and Aaron working together. It's like guilt by association. She sees that Zeke and Aaron working together. They cause Zeke to scream, turning her best friend into a Titan that tried to kill her cousin, ends up killing her friend Porco, and her other friend Colt is dead. So it's just, she's alone. She feels alone. It's just her and Reiner. And Aaron's trapped Reiner where he's at. And so Gabby, in this moment of being alone, she's like, she falls into this desperation. And it's kind of the same mentality that Kaya had. Kaya's like, they killed my friend. I wish I could kill her. I wish she was dead. So I don't like that Gabby fires at Aaron. I don't. It's so grisly to see your main character get his head lobbed off. It's just like, what the hell? It's insanity. I was like, oh shit, I really thought that he was going to make it. I didn't think she was going to shoot. She did. I don't know what the repercussions of that will be, because she shot Aaron. She shot Aaron's head off. I can't imagine those of you reading the manga when that moment happened, if everybody was just having a field day and a frenzy. My thing is, I've come to like Gabby's character a lot in this show, and I'm sad that she shot Aaron's head off, because I like Aaron's character too. My fear is that, I'm like, well, what will happen to Gabby in the moments after Aaron comes back, or after what's going to happen? Is I'm assuming Reiner is going to reach out to grab her and get her out of the way. I'm assuming that Reiner is going to grab Gabby. If he can, we'll see at the end of this episode, but I'm assuming that Reiner would be like, oh shit, and grab her. But I don't know. Oh. But she shoots him. So, oh god, information for public disclosure. We're far into this and we're only halfway through the episode. Sweet. Information available for public disclosure. Scream. Eldians who have ingested Jaeger's spinal fluid transform into pure titans from his scream, losing their own will. These titans obey Zeke regardless of who they are or their lives before. But here's the thing. He told Falco to attack Reiner, and Falco did abandon Reiner for Porco. So that's curious. Maybe get him, Falco, just referred to whoever was on, but he still didn't do it. That's interesting. Interesting indeed. Okay. So then, from the midpoint on, this episode gets bonkers. And I'm here for it. I was like, I've been waiting to see what the hell happens when they touch hands. It wasn't touching hands like I thought. No, from one head to a hand, I guess. But we went back to this conversation, right? And there's been little hints throughout this episode that Aaron has not been fully on board with Zeke, right? And I was suspecting the betrayal was coming, and this scene cemented it. I was sitting there waiting, being like, why are we going back to this scene? Why are we going back to Marley, to the internment, why are we going back to the internment zone? What's the point of having this conversation all over again? I didn't know if we were going to do like a time travel thing where once Aaron, like if Zeke was going to like time travel back. I didn't know what the point was, if we were going to do some time travel stuff or what was going to happen. But the point was to backtrack and get the rest of this conversation and to see what happens. So we see Aaron make the conversation. He says, until then, I'll keep moving forward. And then he does the whole Wright brother. And so here's the thing. We get the end of this scene where Zeke threw the ball. He threw the baseball. And we never got to see Aaron catch it, right? And in this, it bounced off his hand. It went and hit the ground. He didn't catch it. He either didn't catch it or he missed it completely. And that's the sign that Aaron's not on board with Zeke. And there's a moment where he goes, oh, I dropped it. So I guess it did hit his hand. Hospital life must have made me sluggish. And Zeke, that look Zeke gives is like, why didn't you catch it? It's such a look like Zeke trying to be like, oh, okay. And in that moment, I feel like we only go back to that moment to prove that Aaron is not on board with Zeke. Just to prove to us, the audience, that that's a thing, right? That's a preface of get ready. Here we go. We're going to do this. And then so then, oh my God, like there's the imagery here, the Falcons flying. So Falco ate Galliard, he ate Porco. The Falcons flying and flying over. I love the imagery of the bird flying over the bullet holes in the roof, like the Falcon flying free over the bullet holes. But there's so much imagery here. So we see like a Marleyan troop getting eaten by a Titan. I wanted to pause these moments because they happen. So it's like time is time is stopped. Like it's in mid, and we saw the Marleyan soldiers getting eaten by the pure Titans, but it's like time has stopped amongst everybody. God, this was so freaking cool. And then we cut to the moment, and Mikasa, her and Armin aren't paying attention to Eren. They're too busy fighting Peak. That's going down. And there's all the fires blazing, the pure Titans everywhere. And then the sunlight shining through. And then we cut, oh my God, we cut to Reiner getting blasted. Falco's eating Porco. John and Connie, they look back and see Eren's head get lobbed off by Gabby. And Gabby, something happened. Like, did somebody hit Gabby? It was the recoil. Okay, she got the recoil from the blast and it hit her back. So I'm guessing the recoil from the rifle, because she wasn't prepared or didn't hold it properly, it recoiled and hit it back. So Gabby got the recoil and it could have knocked her out. Okay? It might have knocked her out. So Reiner got hit too. So we don't know if Reiner's going to be able to save her. What's going to happen? Will Reiner be able to like save her if the Thunder Spears didn't take him out totally? We don't know, but she got hit. And then Eren. And here's the thing. You have to question in that moment. And I know that a lot of you are going to say that Zeke sincerely cared about his brother and he wanted to help Eren in the moment. But was it that? Was it Zeke just wanting to fulfill his plan, so he needed Eren? I like to think that Zeke genuinely cares about Eren and thought of him like, oh, we're brothers, we're family, and there's that bond. But that bond's so messed up, especially how he treated Colt and them and his understanding of it. It's so odd. But I like to think that Zeke does care about Eren, and he's mortified that he just got his head lobbed off. And it's weird. It's weird seeing your main character without a head. It's very odd to see your protagonist suddenly decapitated. I don't think I've watched a series where that's happened before. So, fun times. Thanks, Isayama. But he grabs... There's a morbid part of me. There's a sick and morbid part of me that wants to make the thumbnail the moment where Zeke holds Eren's head. There's a really sick part of me that wants to do that, but I'm not going to, because that's too much. But he touches Eren's head, and that's all it took. It just took a touch, and then we go into another dimension. They go into the other realm, and it all goes bonkers from there. And so I wanted to see this. So I wanted to see this moment here, okay? Let it be known, the first image that Eren sees in his possible death, as he's going through the paths, the first image, the images that Eren sees, and I'm assuming this is Eren seeing it because he's the founder, he sees Mikasa with the sticks. That's the first thing he sees. Funny that for someone that, if you hated her, you would see that, but we know now that that's not the case. And God, the eyes with the paths. Oh my God, the Eren's eyeball with the green. Oh my God, the eye is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it. It doesn't look like an anime. It almost looks photorealistic. And then, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are nine rings of light outside of the main one, right? There's the eyeball. The eye, okay, so it's the eye with the 9 lights and the main one in the middle. Okay, fitting, because we're assuming that's referring, and he blinks. And then we see, oh God, the second person he sees is Reiner! I thought it was Armin! Nope, it's Reiner. Someone shared on Discord a thing of Eren and Reiner like in a couple's pose, and I was like, I had never considered the Eren and Reiner ship. But other than Mikasa, I saw Reiner second. Oh God. And then he blinks again, and he sees Faye. Oh! So he blinks again. Man, Armin's chopped liver! So then he sees Faye with the armband. Okay. And then he blinks again, and he sees Frida brushing her hair, looking kind of like him. So he sees Frida next. Okay. Oh my God. And then blinks again and sees Reiner. Okay, and see Reiner bowing before it and see Reiner kneeling and begging. Okay. He's having a lot of visions of Reiner in this. And then it shows Armin. Okay, and then we finally see Armin. Armin, you are chopped liver, bud. You see Armin running away. Okay. And then we see the Reese family. The royal family. All right. And it's funny because in that moment seeing them, it says Grisha saw them. And then there's like a little blip of like orangish red. Like it's starting to bleed through. Because she's the founder. Mm-hmm. And then so we see, I'm curious, we see Frida. I want to see who the other ones are. So he sees Reiner, he sees Armin, he sees the royal family. And then try and think, oh, Levi. He sees Levi. Okay, interesting. So it happens really fast. He sees Levi in that moment. Interesting. All right. And then he sees Sasha and Connie playing or like messing around. Sasha and Connie, he sees them messing around. Okay. And then he sees Falco. Okay. Yeah, he sees Falco. Oh, I want to see what this other thing was. I'm trying to like, it all goes so fast, right? I'm trying to see this one moment, and this scene doesn't want to show it to me. Okay, so he sees Falco then. And there's this one moment of somebody clutching someone else, right? It's a man holding like a gun to a kid and someone holding him. Okay. What? I want to try to back up just the tiniest of hairs, right? Okay, I want to just back up and see that. Why won't you show me these things, show? Okay, so right one point where I get to Falco. It's a man pointing a gun at someone. So it's a man pointing a gun at someone with a kid. And I'm not sure who it is. And then we see the Colossal Titan. Okay. And we see the Colossal Titan. Okay. And then I'm looking here, and are they in a sauna? Is this the sauna picture? I showed like a while back, like there was a picture of all of them in a sauna, like hanging out. And it was like just a fan servicey shot. And you can see Jean and Reiner and Levi in the sauna. So you have the sauna, and you have Levi and Jean, and you have Reiner in the middle, and Reiner looks miserable. When was this? I know that Isayama's done like a fan servicey cover for an art, and it was all of them like in a sauna with the towels and stuff on. But when did this happen? Are we gonna get to see this? Are we gonna get to see Reiner, Levi, Jean sauna fan service I've been asking for seasons? Because, yeah, you see Levi and he's like hiding, and Levi's like, you'll get no fan service from me except for my sculpted biceps. And Jean looks like this, like he's just contemplating. And Reiner he's just like this, he looks miserable. What? And then we see like a puff of smoke or steam, and, okay, I don't know. It's somebody pointing a gun at a guy with a kid. And then we see new people that I do not know that I'm assuming are going to be important. So we see, I don't know if that's a girl or boy. I'm guessing it's a girl. We see girl number 1. All right. I was going to comment about this in the episode, and I wanted to wait till we got. And then we see Grisha. And Grisha is in pain. And he's in that same red and blue that you saw with the Reese family. And then Grisha in pain, and on one side there is like total darkness, like he's all alone in the dark, like dealing with his anguish probably at what he's done. And then it like, turn the sunset upside down and it becomes the dawn. And it becomes the dawn that the bird is flying over. Okay, and we see the basement key. And then we see another girl. It looks like Historia. Okay, so we see the key. And see, we see a girl that is maybe Historia, but I am wondering if it's somebody else. And we see another girl. Okay. All right, and we see another girl. Some girl that looks like she has buns. Like another girl. Girl number 3. And then we have a girl with short hair. With short blonde hair. Okay. Interesting. I know a bunch of you are probably like looking at this imagery if you know the manga and you're like, haha. Okay. So we see one girl. We see a girl with buns. And she has like cross earrings and like all this jewelry and stuff. She looks goth? What? What is this goth girl? What is this business? Excuse me? And we see a girl, and she has glasses. So we have a girl with glasses. What? And then everything turns upside down again, and there's the bird flying over. And then we see Ymir and the paths. I'm really hoping we backtrack and get some insight into I was wondering in the moment when we saw, I don't know about, because we have girl number 1, and then we have the girl that looks like Historia, and then we have a girl with like the goth girl and the other girl. And I wondered, I don't know if the one girl's Historia or not, but I thought that when we saw 3 girls in a row, I was like, is that Sina, Rose, and Maria? Are those the 3 daughters? And I know one of them has black hair or dark hair, so it doesn't fit like the 3 blondes in the season 2 ED. We had 3 blondes, but here we do. Well, one girl had dark hair, so I don't know. But for a second, I thought that maybe the 3 girls that Sina, Rose, and Maria were in that imagery, but I don't know. I'm so curious. The goth girl throws me off the most because I'm like, she has buns and like a choker and and cross earrings. I'm like, that looks so out of the norm for Attack on Titan. I'm like, what is that? I want to know. I'm assuming we're going to find out next episode, but it's so wild, right? And then we get to that big old tree, the paths where it all is. And there's Aaron. And Aaron's he's standing in the black suit and everything that's like in the ED. And his hair doesn't look as long, or it's like thinner. I don't know how else to describe it. But he's watching. He's like, this is the coordinate where all the paths converge, I believe. This is the coordinate. So yeah, so we're at the coordinate where all paths converge. And this is where things get absolutely bonkers. So fun times. So we see Zeke in chains, right? And this is such a fascinating scene. And Zeke's hair's grown out. He's like, those who use the founding Titan's powers must come here. Okay. So that's curious, right? So let's talk about this. Let's flip this over real quick. Okay. So in talking about this, Zeke says that they're at where the paths meet the coordinate. Okay. And Zeke makes the comment that those who use the founding Titan's powers must come here, right? How did Ymir get there? How did Freckled Ymir get there when she ate Marcel? How did that work? Because Freckled Ymir's been there. She's been where those coordinates and those paths are. So how did that happen? She's not royalty, is she? Is she? Is she secretly and we don't know at this point? So yeah, how did Ymir? We're going to put a big question mark about Ymir. But apparently the founding Titan must go there. And here's the thing. At this point, do we trust Zeke? Because Zeke and Aaron do this like cat and mouse betrayal back and forth. So do we trust Zeke? It could be a lie. It could be, maybe not just the founding Titans can come to this place, but all founding Titans must come here. Who knows? No. God, this conversation. So yeah, those with royal blood, that is. Okay, those with royal blood. Okay. Must go here. Those with royal blood. So how did Aaron get there, right? And Ymir, did Ymir have royal blood? Was it all real? I don't know. And he's like, Aaron, he says, brother, the wait's been exhausting, Aaron. It feels like I've been waiting years for you to recover and wake up. So he makes the comment that Aaron has had to recover and wake up. All right. And it does feel like years because his like hair's grown out and he has a beard. Like, and it's felt like years. Felt like years, but it's been an instant. So like I said, I think that when Aaron... he's our protagonist. He's got to get out of this. Zeke is not going to win in this situation, right? Zeke is not going to win. That's just not... I don't think that's how this is going to go. But the question is, what is Aaron going to do with Zeke? How is this going to end? What's the end result of this conversation? We don't know that, right? As the audience, we don't know that. But my theory is that when all of this is said and done, that when Aaron pops back to life or whatever happens with him, it's going to just feel like a second has passed and then whatever happens, right? I feel like all hell's going to break loose, but we've not got there yet. All right. And so he says, years have passed. And he's like, really? And he goes, I'm not sure. Here, everything happens in an instant. So your head was blown off by Gabby, but you made contact with me before you passed on. So that activated the powers. Okay. We succeeded. We obtained the power of the founding Titan. Okay. And then Zeke's about to cry, and Aaron's like, ah. And that's when Ymir shows up. That's the founder, Ymir. Okay. So basically, before Aaron passed, before he died, they activated the power. But he says recover and wake up. So I'm assuming that means that Aaron's not dead. He's actually recovered. His head's regrown or something's happened. But he's recovered. So they activated the power, and then the founder, Ymir, showed up. Who is quite frightening, for the record. Ymir Fritz is a frightening little girl. I want to hear her talk, but then I'm also terrified of her talking because I'm like, I don't want to hear it, but I'm so curious. I want to see her and Aaron have a conversation. I've wanted Aaron and Ymir Fritz to have a conversation like the last season, and then the twist with all this, oh my God. But yeah, she just shows up. And he's like, how do you know? And he says, who else but the founder Ymir would be wandering around a place like this? So here's the thing, though. Here is the thing. We don't know for sure that that's Ymir Fritz. We assume that it is. How do we know it's not the devil of all earth? How do we know it's not that, right? How do we know? Could it be the devil of all earth? We assume that it is Ymir that saved Zeke and rebuilt his legs and everything, and that's the original founder. But who's to say, right? The fact that he says who else would be wandering around in a place like this, I guess it is Ymir. It's just the way that he phrases it, the way that it's translated, leaves like an inch of doubt, but it's probably Ymir Fritz. It's probably her. Okay. And then, okay. And then his nails have all grown out. Like he's been there so long that his fingernails have grown out. He says, at one time, she rebuilt my body with this earth and brought me back to life. So yeah, so basically saying that she brought Zeke back to life. All right. Okay. That he was going to die. And so I'm assuming that's probably how Aaron comes back, maybe. That she's been rebuilding his body, but we don't see the sand. But here's the thing, Aaron, this is the crazy thing. And when Zeke was there and he'd been blown apart, she was rebuilding his entire body with the soil. But Aaron is standing there totally in full form, like in full body. Like it doesn't show her like with his head, like remaking his body, unless it's already happened and he just regained consciousness after it all went down. I don't know. But yeah, so he says, I imagine this is where she makes titans. that she forges them. And that kind of makes sense if she's a child. The pure Titans all kind of have like a crude, like I called them like the putty Titans back at the start of this series before we knew that they were called pure Titans. And so it kind of looks like just like a cruddy thing that a little kid would make, right? It's like when you try to draw something but you don't have a total control of like the technique of it. Mm-hmm. And then expending untold years whenever we seek the power of the Titans. Okay. So, interesting. And you see like her footprints. And she just has the same like little socks and stuff on. Huh. Okay. Walking out of there. And so this is really sad. I actually really like that Aaron says this. He's like, all alone here forever. Yeah. Like she's trapped. I feel like Aaron feels sorry for her. Aaron feels sorry for Ymir. Because she's like all alone here forever. And that's I'm glad that Aaron says that, because going back to my comments in this reaction and throughout the recap and stuff, I was really worried that Aaron wanted to be alone, that he thought that that was freedom for him, was just being by himself and being totally free. And I'm like, that sucks. And so, and if that's still the case, maybe, but I'm glad that Aaron's seeing just how horrible she looks like she feels. And it's because she's all alone there. She's just basically waiting out her days until the Founding Titan comes to use her power. And so there's that moment where they kind of connect there. And I feel like Aaron's realizing, oh, being alone like this, that's not freedom. Like she's just, it may be freedom, but it's not really freedom either, because she's at the beck and call of whoever uses the power of the Founding Titan. So what does he make of that, you know? Oh, man. And then, yeah, and here's the thing too. God, I love this. Aaron's like, she's here all alone forever. Like just letting people use her over and over again, right? And Zeke says, Aaron, use the power. And in that moment, Aaron is trying to empathize with Ymir, right? Aaron seems to be empathizing with Ymir. He's like, God, this sucks for her. She's all alone here forever until people come. It's like a genie in a lamp. You're here until they come and wish for you to do something for them, and then you're alone again. And he says that. Zeke does not like share in his remorse or anything, or his empathy. Zeke's just like, okay, you're here, let's do the thing. Again, going back to that whole thing with Colt, he's like, it's a shame, but I'm on a mission, I have a plan. And so, God, I love this scene. And Aaron's just like, I was lamenting this girl's suffering and you just are ignoring it? Okay. That look, he's like, the time has come to fulfill our dream. The moment he said our dream, I was like, oh no. And that look Aaron gives, he's like, oh no, it's not our dream. No. At that moment I was like, no. And so he's like, those chains. It's almost like Aaron's just now noticing them. Like it's just dawning on them. He's like, oh, finally noticed them, have you? I appreciate your concern. Which again, he forged them himself, supposedly. So it's a trick, right? Again. And it almost seems like just the slyest thing. He says, I appreciate your concern. And Zeke goes, they're to restrict my freedom. It's the vow renouncing war. So what a clever move on Zeke's part. Zeke testing Aaron and trying to like play at him, right? Because that's what it feels like. He's like, the chains are to restrict my freedom. Okay? And he says that they represent the vow. In that moment, I was like, oh man, Zeke is trying to play at Aaron, because Aaron hates things. Aaron hates people that aren't free. He hates slavery. And so Zeke is trying to play at Aaron, being like, oh, these chains are restricting my freedom. Isn't this awful? You know, it's the vow. And I like the metaphor. I like the symbolism that the chains over the royal person that's the vow renouncing war, so that they can't walk towards the founder and use her power. As I thought, only you can move freely here. Only you can command the founder, Ymir. Okay. And Aaron's like, okay. He's like, to fulfill my, Mr. Casaver's, and your dream, please save the world. Oh my God, I love this so much. I love it. And Zeke tries to look like a puppy dog. He's like, Aaron, you know, the plan we made. And God, Aaron's face! Aaron looks so freaking good. Aaron and Armin look amazing in this episode, for the record. I don't think Aaron has looked as good in this series as he does in this episode. Dark purple and green are your colors, my friend. But God, Aaron. And he's just silent. He's like, tell her to make the Eldians unable to bear children until the end of time. Yeah, until the end of time. Crushing the military with the rumbling can come later. Yeah. And so, oh my God, I love this scene so much. That he's like the sterilization comes first. Sterilize, and then we can crush the military. But I wonder though, if it's like a genie or if it's like a setup where you can only use the power one time, right? I wondered about that when he phrased it that way, because I'm like, it seems like you just activate the Founding Titan's powers and do one thing at a time, right? So if he says sterilize all the Eldians, is he just using Aaron in that moment to make him do the plan? And then he's like, oh, well, the military and the rumbling can come later. And it's like, or is it just going to, as soon as he does that, it's going to cut back to the present? I wondered that. I was like, is he just trying to trick Aaron to get the plan to go? And then they'll go back to the present after he uses the power one time and they'll have to do it all over again to do it a second time? I don't know. This whole conversation makes you question the trust between these two brothers. And the truth is, they really, at this point, don't have trust in each other anymore. And so it's just, And Aaron just turns from him. And I love that. He's like, euthanize every last Eldian. And he's like, Aaron. He's like, there's no way in hell I'd go along with such a messed up plan. Oh my God. He's like, sorry, brother. I was only playing along in order to get here. Oh my God. It's like Armin's been reaffirmed. Like, no, Aaron. He's like, I just used you. Sorry. And in that moment, I was starting to feel sad for Zeke. I was starting to feel sad for Zeke because Zeke is a tragic character, right? Zeke is such a tragic character, okay? And we find out that, yeah, Aaron, the whole plan goes against Aaron's entire constitution. Goes against everything Aaron's been for. So Aaron was just using Zeke to get to the founder. Okay. God, this is just amazing. He was just using Zeke. And I feel bad for Zeke. Zeke is a tragic character. And it's like the one bond that he almost made outside of Cassava, the one bond he had with a legitimate family member, totally betrayed him and was just using him. And that sucks for Zeke. But then Zeke kind of gets the second laugh here, right? And he starts to cry, and he says, Zeke says, as long as Eldians exist, this hell will never end. And he tries to convince him, and Aaron's just like, no. He's like, if you don't go through with it, the bloodshed will never stop. And Aaron's like, no. Oh my God. He's like, all we've been through will just cycle for eternity. And he's like, why, Aaron? Answer me. And Aaron says, because I was born in this world. Yep. And it goes back to Willie Tiber. It goes back to him saying that right before he died, because I was born in this world. He's like, I'm doing it because that's my birthright. I was born. I have that right. And so then this is like the thing of all things, right? So this girl looks blind. Ymir Fritz, she looks blind, right? So is she blind? That's what's curious. Is she blind? Because she looks like she doesn't have any sight. Like her eyes are just, And he says, Founder Ymir, lend me your power. And he reaches out to grab her hand. And she just walks right by him. At that point, when she just walked by him, I thought, okay, the fudge? I was like, it's all about to get insane. And he's like, wait, what? And then Zeke, it just playing the role. And he's like, I thought as much, Aaron. I hoped, if anyone, that you would understand. Oh my God. and him saying that is this the result of father's brainwashing again? God, Zeke is on that Grisha train. Zeke's whole mentality is like, this is all Grisha's fault. And it's like, no, I know it's not in this case. So we're gonna talk about this. So Zeke believes that it's Grisha's fault still. And God, there's a part of me that I wish that Zeke could see the books that Grisha wrote. Because yeah, Grisha was a horrible father to Zeke. He did some awful things. He was terrible with Zeke. But then he lamented it all and wrote it all down for Aaron to have and be like, look, I am nothing but my sins. I did these horrible things and there's no way I can apologize for everything. He's like, this is all I can do is write it out as my atonement. And so I wish Zeke could see that. But he just thinks that it's all brainwashing. And Aaron's like, what the hell? No. And then Ymir goes over there. Oh my gosh. And she collapses at his feet. And Aaron's like, what does this mean? Why is she collapsing at his feet? In the time it took you to wake, I learned many things. So, okay. Her bringing Zeke back to life. Okay. In episode 17, I wondered why she did that. Because it seemed like Zeke, it seems so ironic that she birthed him, basically back to life. But she doesn't have a choice. That's the thing. That's what we find out if that's all true, if it's not just a lie, right? We don't know for sure yet. He says, I learned many things in the time it took you to wake up. Okay. The founder can make anything, even these earthen chains. And he breaks off the chains. God. And Aaron's like, the fudge? As long as I, with royal blood, wills it. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. So, okay. So, Zeke basically, Ymir had to save him. Okay. Okay, so the founder, we say that the founder can make anything. The founder can do anything. As long as, I want to go back and grab that. I want to get the wording right because this is very, very specific, right? As long as I, with royal blood, wills it. So the founder can do anything as long as they have royal blood. Okay. Okay. So Zeke can do anything. All right. But then he says, and the chains all break, they dissolve. Unlike the king of the walls, I'm here without being tainted by the first king's ideals. Okay. So, okay. I'm here without being tainted by the first king's ideals. Okay, so he says he's not tainted by the first king's ideals. Unlike the king in the walls. So that's curious, the wording of that. So saying, is the first king, but it's not Fritz because unlike the king of the walls, without being tainted by Karl Fritz's ideals. So I guess because Zeke is not one of Karl's descendants. He's from a different side of the family maybe. Or because doesn't have the vow to begin with. I'm going to read the rest of this scene. Okay. And in the mind-numbing time I spent with the founder. So yeah, so after spending all this time with the founder, okay. So he just sat there with Ymir Fritz for all this time. Okay. I managed to nullify the vow renouncing war. Okay. So you nullified the vow. Okay. So not tainted by his ideals. So I guess because Zeke was not a direct descendant of Karl Fritz, and he spent all that time with Ymir, he could nullify the vow. So, okay, well, if the vow is nullified now, then does that mean that Historia or her child could become the founder? Is that what that means? So if down the road, if Aaron's Titan goes to Historia or her kid, that could be a thing, and the vow is done? And Aaron's like, well, shit, what? How long did it take me to heal myself? And Zeke's like, though possessing tremendous power, the founder is a slave with no will of her own. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, Ymir has power, but no will. God, she sounds a lot like Aaron. No will of her own. As the founder. Okay. And Zeke just looks so nonchalant, just sitting there like just rubbing his neck, so nonchalant. Oh my God. She believes those with royal blood are her masters and obeys them. Okay. So she obeys the royal family. So that's curious. So is Ymir, she doesn't seem like a, that's so curious to me because she doesn't seem like royalty herself, but I find it so odd. Like why was she given this power in the first place with no will of her own? And why does she serve the royal family? I thought she was royalty. I thought Ymir Fritz was the original princess or something. And then, but why is she a slave? That's so curious. Okay. I obtained the founder's powers. Okay, and so Zeke obtained the founder's power. Well, what the hell does Aaron have then? If he obtained the power, then what's the deal? Oh. And he's like, that's impossible. He's like, you are no more than the key, Aaron. But that's not true. No, that's a lie, though. He says that Aaron's just the key, but that's a lie. But Cassaver said that Zeke was just the key. So who's right in this scenario? Damn it! I don't want to be spoiled, but who's right? And then he said, and now Aaron's chained up. I'm glad I waited to hear your true feelings. And then it shows her with the water bucket. It's not your fault. You and I are tragic victims born by that vile father. Okay. And so Zeke says that it's Grisha's fault, not Aaron's. Slandering from beyond the grave. Calling them victims again. Oh my God. But I had another father who saved me. Which is Cassaver, right? You need somebody to save you too. In that moment, I was like, Aaron does not need an adult. Aaron is an adult. Like, oh my God. And so Zeke is saying that he was saved by Cassaver. And Zeke is basically saying, is Zeke implying that he's going to become Aaron's father? Aaron don't need a daddy. Let's be real. All right. Is he going to save Aaron? I'm like, okay. And Aaron's like, I really want you to back off. He's like, I will never abandon you. I'll fix you with the founder's power. Oh my God. So Aaron's saying that he'll fix Aaron, huh? Will you? He'll fix him, huh? Is that how we're doing this? Oh, God. Okay. And he's like, stop it. Aaron's like, let me go. Stranger danger. When I save the world, it'll be with you. Oh, my God. And Aaron's like, excuse me. And then And then they lock foreheads, and then that's it. So the question in all of this is, who's telling the truth, right? Who's telling the truth, okay? I bought an actual reusable rag, right? So, okay. So, Grisha getting the blame for all of this. I'm like, I don't know what they're planning on doing in the next episode. I really don't. I'm probably going to wait a couple days before I watch it, like I said, before I leave. So things. I'm so, okay. Here's the thing. Let me wipe this off. Okay. So it's a game of who is telling the truth, right? And because I've never trusted Zeke, really. I feel bad for his character. Zeke is very tragic. Zeke is a tragic character. We need to break down what's happening in this moment here. So with Zeke and Aaron, okay? We need to break this down. So I've never really trusted Zeke. Zeke's always been, I feel tragically for Zeke's character. I do, because Zeke had such a horrible upbringing, and it was Grisha's fault. I will say this. It was Grisha and Dinah's fault that Zeke turned out the way that he did, because they were so focused on their own mission that they didn't show any compassion and love towards Zeke. The ironic thing is that when Colt reaches out and begs for compassion and forgiveness and love from Zeke, Zeke's like, it's a shame. Nope. And it's like, haha, okay. But so we have two things here where it's like, okay, well, what is the truth? I still want to know about Ymir Fritz. He says that she has all this power but no free will of her own. But there's still so many questions. So we have Ymir over here. And I think Aaron can relate a lot to Ymir, because Aaron sympathizes with her, right? Aaron sympathizes with Ymir, okay? With Ymir Fritz. He sympathizes with her. He's like, oh, you're all alone forever. That seems like it's awful. Like that seems like a horrible existence, right? And then we establish that Ymir supposedly has power but no will of her own. Okay? And she supposedly serves the royal family, all right, and obeys them. So I'm wondering if that's like a vow. So I have theories, okay? Because Ymir looks like a servant girl, right? She looks like a servant girl. She doesn't look like royalty. She looks like a servant girl. I don't know. We had 4 girls in the imagery with Aaron, and that was what was throwing me off. We had 4 instead of 3. So I wonder if there are 4 sisters. If there's Ymir, if there's Rose, if there's Maria, and if there's Sina. Okay? I imagined that they were all royalty, right? That they were all the royalty. What if it's like kind of a Cinderella thing where you have the 3 sisters that like pushed Ymir to the side and they like made her do all their work for him and made her into slave? I don't know. I don't know at this point. And then Ymir stumbled across the ability to become a Titan from supposedly the devil of all earth, maybe a god, we don't know, but stumbled across the ability to become a Titan. And it just went from there. I don't know. But this whole thing about serving the royal family, I was really under the impression that Ymir was royalty. So I'm curious how... We still don't know why Ymir transferred her body into 9 different Titans. Like what the reason behind that was. I still don't understand that. It's not been told to us. And we've not gotten like her story. We've not gotten the Ymir origin story of how did Ymir become a Titan in the first place? What started this whole thing? How did the paths and the coordinate work? There's clearly a supernatural thing behind it all, but what is it and where did it come from? Why is Ymir bound to a royal family? Why is she shackled up? What's the deal? We don't know the answers to the questions about Ymir yet. We just know that she supposedly can only serve the royal family, and that's it. So I guess it makes sense then why Carl Fritz did the vow renouncing war, because he was like, well, how tempting is it when you have something that can give you all this power and it's going to serve you? Like, how tempting is it to just order it to do something for you, right? It would basically be like if you had a genie and you could ask the genie for anything. How tempting is that to use that power? And Carl Fritz was finally like, nah, let's not do that. But somehow Zeke's nullified it. Okay, so we have a question of who's telling the truth. Cassavor said that Aaron, as the founding Titan, could use the power, not Zeke. That was Cassavor's thing. But Zeke claims that he can use the power because he's royal blood. Because of his blood, he can use the power because he's royalty. And he says that Aaron is the key. Okay? And Cassavor said that Zeke was the key. So maybe they're both the key. Maybe you have to have both. I don't know. But who is telling the truth there? And then Zeke says that they nullified the vow. All right? But he says he nullified the vow that was renouncing war. But Aaron has been told that that's not possible. Okay? So I don't know. And then Zeke can use Ymir. But here's the thing. He says he can use Ymir, but he says, I guess, he's going to fix Aaron. He's like, oh, I love you. You're a victim. So he says he's going to fix Aaron. Zeke, I'm not a fan of fix. I'm not. I'm not a fan of that type of fan fiction. So no, I'm not having that. But he says he's going to fix Aaron and save him. Okay? So where do we go to from here with this? I don't know. We are as far into no man's land as possible. If you had showed me season 1 and told me this was going to happen 3 seasons later, I probably would have laughed. I'd been like, no, it's not. What? You're crazy. I don't know. What I do like in all of this, and what I think is going to go down, is that Aaron is going to try to save Ymir, or plead to her, or something going down. I feel like Aaron is going to try to get Ymir to where she doesn't have to, because Aaron says he hates the concept of slavery. He hates the idea that people can't make decisions for themselves. So Ymir's situation, Aaron would hate. He'd hate that for her. She's by herself, waiting on someone beck and call. She has no freedom. Aaron would hate that. So I feel like Aaron's going to try to help Ymir. The question is, how is he going to do that? And something's up with Zeke. Again, something is up with him. And like the hair growing out, because he said it all happened in an instant, but years passed, right? But when Zeke was in the paths getting fixed by Ymir Fritz, his hair hadn't grown out or anything, even though he said it felt like years. So I don't know. Something's up. Something feels off, and I can't quite place it. But I can't tell you how all relieved I am to know that Aaron was not on board with the sterilization plan. I had thought about it. I was like, there's no way Aaron is on board with it. And all of you in the comments were like, well, every clue points that he's not on board with it. But that's what this season has done. It's made you question so much about Aaron's character that you're like, oh. So I did breathe like okay, Aaron's not on board the sterilization plan. Great. I don't know how that's going to work now that he's locked heads. It seems like he's going to try to make Aaron go through with it anyway. Or he's going to try to explain to Aaron, the errors of his ways and be like, no, here's the truth of the world. Let me explain to you. You'll agree with me after I show you these things. I'm like, have you met Aaron Yeager? Have you? He's a little stubborn. He's an Aries. He's a little stubborn. But yeah, if the vow of renouncing war is in fact nullified, then that means that technically Historia and her kid could become the founding Titan again, and the vow would be off the table. So that's something. Some silver lining in this maybe. I don't know. Zeke has always, throughout the series, Zeke has made questionable decisions, and they've always seemed like they have come back to bite him. And I feel like this is one of them, and I just don't know how. Like him saying he'll fix Aaron. I'm like, oh, honey, I don't know how you're planning on doing that, but okay. But God, Aaron was animated so well in this episode. I'm so glad he's on board the sterilization plan. I don't know what his plan is, since he wasn't on board with that. I guess it was the rumbling, but I don't know for sure. But that makes me feel a lot better. Um, I just, whatever's going to happen next is going to be bonkers. And I'm glad I'm watching the next episode before I leave. If I had to wait a week, I'm sorry you all had to. I'm sorry. But okay, so here's the thing. It felt very Harry Potter. It felt very, because in Harry Potter, Harry dies. And then, spoilers, Harry Potter's been out for like 20 years. In that series, Harry Potter has to die. He has to sacrifice himself. And then he goes to another dimension and has like a conversation with Dumbledore or whatnot. And then he comes back, right? And he comes back. And when he comes back, it's like everybody has like the battle's still going and everybody thinks that he's dead, but he comes back in the last minute. It's like, oh my God. I feel like the dark version of that is going to happen. I can't explain why, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Aaron is going to come back. We just don't know how yet, because I refuse to believe that Zeke's going to win, that Zeke's going to fix Aaron. I just don't see it. I think Aaron's going to be stubborn and be like, get away from me. No, you don't know my life. You don't know me. I'm waiting on that. Right? But I don't know. So, yeah, God, it's really hard not to watch the next episode. So, I'm going to wait a few days, though. I'm going to wait, maybe, possibly. I'm going to try to. But yeah, I just feel like Aaron's going to beat Zeke somehow. I don't know how he's going to convince Ymir to help him or if that's even on the table. I don't know what's going to happen next with Aaron and Zeke, but I don't think that Zeke is going to fix Aaron like he thinks he is. And I don't think, whatever happens, I think Aaron hasn't said everything yet. Aaron hasn't been able to, he's been quiet. Aaron has been distinctly quiet, even at the end of this episode when he was talking with Zeke. He was quiet. He wasn't playing all of his cards. That's the thing. Aaron wasn't playing all of his cards. So he's still got something up his sleeve. We just don't know what it is yet. And I feel like Aaron is going to try to hear Zeke out because he says, stop, it's pointless. Why? That's, we're going to find out. I don't want to be spoiled, so, okay. But if Aaron wakes up and returns to the battle, then here's what he's going to find. So here's what we're going to leave off at. This is what he's going to find. He's going to find that Falco has ate Porco. That was a thing. That Reiner was hit with the Thunder Spears by Connie and Jean. That Gabby had recoil from the gun, so she's probably knocked out. That Mikasa and Armin and the Jaegerists, which include Flock, right, are fighting Peak. All right. And Magath. Magath is there too. Kozlo's dead, so Niall and Pixis, R.I.P. my friends. Pixis went out swigging his drink. It's still not hit me that they're gone. I hate it. Niall and Pixis are pure titans. So is, and Rogue. Gotta put Rogue on there. And Rogue, God, we lost a lot this episode. Rogue is gone too. And Rogue, he's gone. Colt's dead. Colt is dead, as far as we know. Yelena is meditating. Yelena's taking a new Zen class. It's great. So there's that going on. And Aaron and Zeke is holding Aaron's head, and who knows what's happening. So this is just chaos. Pure, unadulterated chaos. And and then, and by the way, Levi and Hanji, they've missed all of this. Levi and Hanji are still MIA. They've missed all of it. Where they're at, we don't know. I'm glad Levi's not here for this because I think he would have freaked out. Yeah. So. Oh my God. So there's that. This is just all madness. It's all madness. And at least this has some kind of structure to it, maybe, even though it's so abstract. And this is just hell. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know if Aaron does come back. Like, what is going to happen with all this? What's going to happen with Falco? Even if Falco, ate Porco, he's going to turn back to a human. Did like Reiner grab him and Gabby and go? Like, what's going to happen? So Falco's the Jaw Titan now. If you'd asked me that, I never would have guessed. I really thought Falco was going to become the Beast Titan. I really did. He was going to become a damn bird. And instead he turns into a pure Titan that looks like a baby bird. And he eats Porco. And Porco sacrificing himself to save Reiner. Reiner just can't rest in peace. Huh. Okay. At least Keith is safe. At least in all of this, we think Keith might be safe. And we haven't seen Louise. We haven't seen her. The other Jaegeress, Flock is still alive, but I'm floored, y'all. I didn't even finish my coffee. I've got like half a cup yet left. Two brothers. This episode was bonkers. This whole season has been bonkers. Y'all weren't lying. You weren't lying when you said I wasn't ready. I've not been ready. And I have a feeling that as batshit insane as the second half, as insane as the whole episode has been, but especially the second half, with the back and forth cat and mouse game between Zeke and Aaron, like which brother is going to win and what does that win look like? I don't know what to expect next episode. I am completely in the dark. And I'm excited, but I also am like on pins and needles. So I can only imagine if those of you that are anime only watching this with me, what? So please, no manga spoilers. Please, no spoilers. Next episode, I may have to pour a glass of wine, and me and Wine Chan, we're just gonna sit back and be like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. But oh my God. So breathe a sigh of relief that Aaron was on board the sterilization plan like we all suspected, but also, oh shit, like Zeke having tricks of his own up his sleeve. So we shall see, right? In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction to my ramblings, but holy crap. I'm going to try to wait a few days and then watch episode 20. We'll see. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back very soon with episode 20 of season 4 of Attack on Titan. Bye.